Hello and welcome back to the Kokino Podcast. Once again, I'm going to go back into my past and tell you a story from my childhood. So let's get this started. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, me and my brothers had a very, very limited understanding of what video games were. Because the only video games we played were computer games on our dad's computer in the office. He actually had this office that was in a room that wasn't really even technically a room in our house. It was like this glass outer section of the house. He had like put some cardboard all on the glass parts and then just put his computer in there, and that was his office. So we would go into his office, and whenever he wasn't on the computer, we would play video games on there. But the only video games we actually knew about on the computer, and the only kinds of games we played, were like these point and click adventure games. So like stuff like Putt Putt Goes to the Moon, Spy Fox, Myst, Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster. Also, like, those art games like Kid Pix and whatever. So that was, a very limited understanding of what video games were and what they could be. Until, at some point, we were hanging out at our cousin's place. And our cousin lived in this house that was in the middle of the woods. And our cousin's cousin came over to our cousin's house also. And he brought with him this weird-looking device. It kind of like a rectangular plastic thing that had a giant circle in the middle of it, and then two smaller circles in the corners of it. And he took this thing, and he plugged it into the TV, and then all of a sudden he started playing a video game on it. And this was mind-blowing, because if you don't know, like, back in the day, there was a much bigger separation between computers and TVs. Like, nowadays, you could just plug your computer into a TV and play on the TV. But back then, no deal. You have to plug your computer into a monitor, and the monitor was usually a really small, dinky monitor, and it had a different kind of feel to it, and you had to have different separate speakers and whatever. But all of a sudden, we see this video game console, this PlayStation, and he was able to just plug it into the TV and play it. It was just the coolest thing ever. And he was playing this game, I think it was called Epidemic. It was a game where you're this giant robot thing, and you're walking through a bunch of hallways, and you're fighting against like these other robots. It was a very intense game, at least from what I remember. But like, we were completely enamored and fascinated by this thing. So eventually, the cousin's cousin left and brought his PlayStation with him. And so me and my brothers and my cousin, we all wanted to get in on this PlayStation action. We all wanted a PlayStation of our own. So we started to come up with a scheme, a way to get it. We decided that, how about my cousin's family pays for half of it, and my family pays for the other half? And we're like, yeah, let's do that. So me and my brothers went to our mom and dad and asked them if they would buy us a PlayStation. They said no. No, we're not going to do that. And we were very distraught and very distressed. But we didn't give up. We decided, you know what? If we can't get our mom and dad to buy the PlayStation for us, we will get money somehow, some way. And so we decided to go into our garage and search for money, because our garage was like this magical place where magical things could happen, because there was so much junk in there. That was all disheveled and disarranged. There was like an old piano. There was like a bunch of really interesting stuff, like a whole pile of junk. And there also were a bunch of coins. So we just went into the garage and scavenged for coins for like 3 hours. And we were able to we were actually able to find a lot of coins in the garage for some reason. I don't know if like our grandpas collected coins in the garage or something and just put them in places or something like that, or if we just somehow had a bunch of coins. But we were able to get like a whole coffee tin full of coins. We took that coffee tin to like an Albertsons and one of those Coinstar machines that allows you to get money for that coins. And we were able to get like $63 from all these coins. So that was a lot of money. And our parents saw us doing this, saw us searching for money and trying to actually, take initiative for ourselves. And they were like, you know what? We're going to help you buy this thing. We're going to help you buy the PlayStation. And so, like, our parents decided that they would help, and then our cousin's parents would help, and they would all help buy the PlayStation. We used this $60. They, like, my cousin also had like some Toys R Us bucks that we were going to add to the pile, so we were able to scrounge up enough money to buy a PlayStation and also to buy 2 games. So we went over all the way to Toys R Us, and we bought the PlayStation. And the 2 games we bought were Mortal Kombat Trilogy and Alien 3. And we got the PlayStation, we brought it to our house, we plugged in the TV, and we played those games all night long, and it was a great time. So much fun. Ridiculous amounts of fun. It was awesome. We decided that we were going to split it between us. So like one week, our cousins would have the PlayStation, and then the other week, we would have the PlayStation. We just switched back and forth. But luckily for us, my family, my cousin's birthday was like a week later, and for his birthday, he got an N64. So when we were about to give them the PlayStation for their turn, they said, you know what? Forget it. Our cousin, we just got a Nintendo 64, so we're good. You can keep the PlayStation. And so we did. We kept the PlayStation. And that is the story of how my family got our first video game console. This has been the Kokino Podcast. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.